in our next session, which is titled Shared Values, what it means to have a strategic investment partner on board. Very interesting. Looking forward to that one myself as well. And Nikita giving us some insight into, yeah, what happens after you actually made the deal.
Sure.
Nikita, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Kay. All right, give me a second. I'll share my screen with the deck, and we'll get it started.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, awesome. All right, so yeah, for those one who just joined, my name is Nikita. I'm with MY.GAMES, and yeah, today I'm going to talk about shared values and what it actually happens and means to have a strategic partner on board. Before we start, a few words about myself. So yeah, I'm part of MY.GAMES, which is one of the leading European game development and publishing companies. And more specifically, I'm working for MY.GAMES Venture Capital, which is a corporate investment arm of MY.GAMES. So my role is executive producer, and well, basically, I'm all about full cycle deal making, and after the deal is done, helping our portfolio studios grow and avoid pitfalls and all the other less exciting operational things. So prior to that, I've been with Wargaming and have marketing and consumer insights background. So yeah, before to start with, I would like to make a brief overview of MY.GAMES. So like MY.GAMES today has a range of business capabilities, starting from in-house game development to self-publishing to licensing to, of course, MY.GAMES Venture Capital, M&A arm. And beyond this, we also operate our own infrastructure of gaming services that really eases things up for mobile free-to-play game developing and operating those game as a service products. And on top of that, we also operate our own digital store, which is called MY.GAMES Store. So yeah, considering MY.GAMES performance, we've made really strong 2020 with more than $500 million in gross revenue performance, growing above average year-on-year growth figures for gaming industry overall. And yeah, this leads us to be in top 50 gaming companies worldwide by revenue, top 15 gaming companies in EMEA region. And on top of that, as I've mentioned probably in the previous panel discussion, MY.GAMES Venture Capital is part of top 10 gaming funds worldwide by gaming by deal activity. So MY.GAMES is a truly international company these days. We have HQ in Moscow, Russia, but as you can see on this screen, we have solid presence in Eastern and Central Europe. We have our own publishing European branch located in Amsterdam, Netherlands, and also presence in North America and Western regions are really important to us. So we have a presence in the US as well. Considering key gross revenue drivers, 75% of all gross revenue is coming from international markets, and top three top performing markets for us are being United States, Germany, and Japan. And also, like, even though we develop and publish the games on all platforms, the key focus for us is free-to-play mobile game as a services. So we're getting more than 70% of revenue coming from mobile space, which is great. So overall, across all platforms, we have more than 150 games in our portfolio. And as you can see on this slide, the mobile side of our portfolio is the most diversified. So we have titles ranging anywhere from mid-core shooters genre to hardcore RPGs to time management titles to female skewed interactive story games and many others. Well, in the course of the last decade, MY.GAMES has had a really exciting evolution. More than a decade ago, MY.GAMES has been started with without say mostly licensing and regional publishing of MMORPGs in Eastern Europe. Then we've transitioned to in-house development and publishing of our own IPs on PC mostly. And then back in 2016, we've made a successful transition to mobile with such titles as War Robots and Hustle Castle. I'm pretty sure that you guys are well familiar with these titles if you're into mobile. And in the recent years, diversified our portfolio with more casual skewed titles like Grand Hotel Mania. This is a time management game, and also Lovesick, which is one of the leading titles in interactive story games genre. Even though there are a range of strategic partners that you as independent development studios might opt to partner with, only few of them have a proven track record of bringing their IPs cross-platform. Well, bringing the IPs cross-platform, I believe, is one of the really important trends here in the gaming industry in the recent years. And we've got really nice case with Warface, which has been initially created as a free-to-play shooter, free-to-play first-person shooter, dedicated mostly for Eastern European audience. And after a successful launch, we've managed to push the distribution of this game globally. And then in the course of last 2 years, we've brought Warface to consoles, to mobile, and even beyond to Switch. And of course, we've learned a lot in the course of this journey, and happy to share this expertise with our portfolio studios that joined us, so that basically to unlock your IPs to a new audience and create new revenue streams from other platforms, starting from original platform where the IP has started its path. So yeah, well, how did we get to that stage and that performance? Of course, that's a hard work first and foremost, but also it's really about our corporate culture. So among big publishers, and we're really different because we're not a kind of a solidified development and publishing powerhouse. However, we're more of a collaboration of partner studios, and we have 13 in-house studios overall here in MY.GAMES. Each of those studios keeping and nurturing its unique expertise, genre focus, and genre specific knowledge. And basically, this brings us to, I would say, 3 core pillars of MY.GAMES. First one is creative independence. So we have majority of our in-house studios being led by the founders, which have established those businesses a while ago, keeping their own independent product strategy and executing on it. The second aspect is constant expertise exchange. So we have the ecosystem and also the infrastructure, which I'll be telling a little bit more in a few minutes, that really streamlines exchange of successful cases, of problem solving, and also the data and metrics that show high performing titles across our portfolio that allow to learn for other teams, including the studios that joined MGVC within strategic partnership. And also the third pillar is experiments. We constantly drive new experiments in all the areas of operations, starting from prototyping to game development practices, to publishing and user acquisition, of course, to live operations. And with all this track record in mind and thoughts in mind, we've established MY.GAMES Venture Capital 3 years ago. And over the course of 3 years, we've joined more than 37 development studios across the world. Yeah, one of the reasons why we've gathered so much interest from the side of independent studios is the range of added values and supporting services that strategic partners, just like ourselves, are bringing to the table of the partnership. So first and foremost, it's marketing expertise. I'll be telling a little bit more about that in a few seconds. Also editorial support. And by editorial support, I mean the team of really senior and seasoned game designers with great track record and versatile expertise that are working with our portfolio companies to basically help increase retention and monetization KPIs, improve unit economy, and make sure that the products are becoming successful as business. On top of this, we have our own infrastructure and ecosystem that basically puts all the burden related to services and tools that are associated with free-to-play game as a service aside, and that makes the teams and the development studios that we're working with solely focused on the product that they are creating. Elaborating a little bit more about marketing services and marketing side of things. As you may know, in mobile free-to-play, user acquisition specifically is one of the critical aspects that really differentiate successful products from not so successful. So here at MY.GAMES, we actually have our own global user acquisition team, which is driving UA to our top titles like Warface, like War Robots and Hustle Castle. And we have those folks driving UA with efficient ROI to the products of our portfolio studios, which is, I would say, one of the really game changers which differentiate us on the landscape of strategic partners. Also, as you may know, a solid pipeline of ad creatives makes a difference when the game is getting to scale on the market with paid user acquisition. And we're helping our studios with on that aspect as well. And last but not least, influencer marketing. So we have the set of tools and expertise in-house to make influencer marketing on YouTube, on TikTok and Instagram to be not only ROI efficient by itself, but also driving down the CPI, cost per install costs for specific regions, for like regular Facebook to Google to Unity campaigns when we pair that user acquisition with influencer marketing. Elaborating about our infrastructure a little bit more, the particular tool that we are really proud of is MyUA. It's a tool for granular user acquisition and product metrics analysis. And also it solves for return of investment prediction. So basically, we have a high accuracy tool which says what would be the return of investment in specific time frame, let's say after 3 months or 6 months after marketing has been invested. On top of that, we have our own GDPR solution, marketing attribution services and tools, and of course, our MY.GAMES digital store. All right, moving on to the my favorite part of the presentation, which is cases and results. So in the course of last three years, we've made multiple successful acquisitions and integrations of new studios. And on this slide, you can see cases of Pixonic and Swagmasha, the studio that we've acquired in full. Yeah, well, based on these graphs, you can see that we've managed to multiple revenue performance of those studios in, I would say, relatively short time frame. So when considering partnership with a strategic, it's really worth considering what are the synergies and what are the added values that this strategic is bringing to the table of the partnership. Also from our side, this is something that we are considering as well. So among all the investment opportunities, we're looking for those ones where our added value will make the biggest difference. So that's why sometimes I call MGVC a growth fund, because our ultimate objective is growth as fast as possible and achieving really high scale. And now a few more product specific cases. Yeah, so the first one is Pixonic. It's the Russian studio which has had a really well-established product back in the day when we've acquired the studio in mid 2016. It's War Robots, it's PvP multiplayer online battle arena, which, as you can see on the graph below, which is representing revenue performance according to App Annie, prior to acquisition has been, well, enjoying organic traffic, mostly in organic, and performance in terms of revenue based on organic traffic. Immediately after acquisition, we've injected our support and expertise in user acquisition and managed to increase revenue performance of War Robots by 4 times in just 1 year, which is an outstanding result. And afterwards, we've secured the fact that War Robots is becoming a durable game as a service title by helping the studio to establish efficient live operations, which basically resulted in War Robots generating solid revenue numbers over the course of last 5 years, next actually 5 years after the initial scale. So yeah, just this year, we've got to a really exciting milestone of $500 million lifetime revenue generated by War Robots. The second case is really different. It's about us stepping into strategic partnership early on, and yeah, well, showcasing other strong aspects of cooperation with a strategic. So yeah, this case is about Deus, and with Deus, we've stepped into strategic partnership really early on, when the studio has had only a solid MVP of their game called Grand Hotel Mania. It's a game in the time management segment. And back in the day, after the partnership has been signed and put in place, we've supported the studio with our editorial team's expertise and support, and basically worked with the studio to set up the KPIs and unit economy in the product so that it allows for rapid scale with user acquisition once it's ready. So at the beginning of 2020, we've arranged soft launch with the help of our user acquisition team. And when we've made sure that the game is ready for launch, we've moved to a scale phase right after global release, which has been arranged only by MY.GAMES user acquisition team. So since by the end of last year, there were 0 folks in the studio itself arranging publishing and marketing operations. It was just central user acquisition team from MY.GAMES, which has basically delivered great result with scaling Grand Hotel Mania, achieving 3.5 mil per month performance in just 3 months after the game went global. And yeah, given that this is a penny number, you can imagine that considering advertising revenue coming in within this game as well, the total performance is roughly 5 mil per month back in October. And since then, we've helped the studio to establish efficient live operations as well with our design team. And now, yeah, well, another interesting point is that with our help, we've managed to actually shake up the whole genre of time management games globally. With those editorial team support and expertise in game design, as well as user acquisition at scale with efficient return of investment. So as you can see, only within 2 months after global launch of Grand Hotel Mania, we've got to top 2 most performing time management games in the category worldwide overall. So yeah, to sum up, as here at MY.GAMES, we're a game developer and publisher our own, we understand that creating a successful game really costs blood, sweat, and tears. And that's why we're super supportive to the studios, the teams that we are joining within strategic partnership. And we believe that we have really shared values between the studios and studios' motivation and objectives as well as ours. So first and foremost, we're about making great games that can become phenomena worldwide and become evergreen IPs that are enjoyed by the audience worldwide for decades. And of course, we appreciate creative independence of the studios that we are joining because, well, that's something that really is critical to making a hit game that is differentiated from the peers on the market. And of course, we're aimed at growth, rapid, efficient growth with a positive return of investment. And I believe on those three objectives and values, we are really well aligned with the developer and development partners that might consider joining the strategic partnership. So all in all, even though there are a range of ways and paths for development studios and development teams to get to top charts, one of them being a fully independent path of, well, getting into a lot of pitfalls, establishing own publishing unit and publishing operations, and get to top charts organically. The other path might be working with a strategic partner, which basically allows for streamlined growth and focus of the studio on the product itself. At first, and at the second, strategic partner helping a lot, not only with expertise in design and marketing, but also with infrastructure that basically streamlines games performance on the market, and ecosystem and collaboration with other studios within its portfolio across the globe. And of course, last but not least, funding. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's worth saying that we are here at My.GAMES having really ambitious targets to get into top 25 grossing publishers worldwide. And yeah, really welcome independent development studios to join us and achieve the ambitious goals together.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nikita. Большое спасибо. Do you have what's the best way to get in touch with you guys for people that are listening and are interested in having a conversation?
Yeah, so firstly, I'm open for a chat on Facebook and LinkedIn. Also, we have a mgvc.com website with application form out there, and we're checking the new applications really regularly.
Cool. We have a little bit of time, and we have a lot of Q&A questions. So if you're okay, then I'll bounce some over to you. Very first one actually was working in such a globally situated company like My.GAMES. Is the way you approach deals in each region slightly different, or has that global market that we're basically operating in pretty much allowed for like a more straightforward method that you can apply to all different kinds of regions and games?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, we've started with MGVC with mostly, I would say, Eastern European focus, basically because it's our domestic region, right, for My.GAMES. But over the course of last year, we've shifted our focus globally. And one of the recent disclosed deals is our investment in Pizza Club Games, which is San Francisco-based mobile game developer focused on Hero Collection battlers. So I would say that gaming industry is really global from the standpoint of operations, right, and from the standpoint of distribution, and that basically allows us to work efficiently together with the studios all over the globe. So we have a few studios in our portfolio coming from North America, and also one from Brazil, which is also a great region for development talent.
Yeah, interesting. Cool. Another one. This is one I'm actually interested in too, because we've been in that situation. What advice would you give to a game developer who is looking to expand their game to new platforms, such as a Switch, if you're coming from mobile, for instance, when you are traditionally a mobile company? Any tips you can give there?
Well, yeah, good question, actually. I would say it really depends on the initial gameplay, right? And the question is how this particular gameplay, considering that well, the product is somewhat successful on one platform, how does this gameplay fits other platforms like PC or console or even Switch? So let's say if we're considering Warface being a first-person shooter, this gameplay works great for PC, for console, of course, mobile and all the platforms basically, right? But if we're talking about strategy games or real-time strategy in particular, I believe that console might be not the best option to push forward with in terms of expanding to new platforms. And also, it is all about smart adaptation of the gameplay to a new platform and assessing the return of investment potentially, considering each specific market and each specific platform in particular.
Yeah, and just based on my own experience or our own experience, it's not trivial, especially if you're dealing with different input methods from touch to keyboard to mouse to joysticks and so on. So it's an interesting challenge for sure, but it can be worth it, right? Yeah, cool. We got one more question that asked, how much weight should companies put on user acquisition? Should this be something to actually invest in early on? Curious what your stance is on that. I mean, this is what you guys are the experts of, right?
Yeah, sure. Looks like basically we have some more questions in Q&A chat. But what can you please rephrase this question? How much should be put into user?
Yeah, how much emphasis should companies that build their first game, right, put on user acquisition, and should they be investing themselves in this early on? I guess testing, proving some fundamental KPIs and so on.
Got it. So yeah, as I believe everyone mentioned in the previous panel discussion, market validation as early as possible in the course of product's life cycle is critical, not only for the development studios themselves, because it basically drives the way forward for future iterations with the product, but also for potential partners, just like VC, strategic partners, and even, let's say, some other partnerships, which might include marketing financing. So yeah, I believe it's critically important to put some money into UA and to get initial metrics to actually understand where you are with retention, with initial checks of your audience in your game, and what are the areas for improvement to tackle first. Firstly,
yeah,
and of course, that's the great addition, an important aspect in terms of conversations and negotiations with potential parties that really bring that publishing or marketing financing muscle on top of initial KPIs and on top of initial user acquisition to really get the product to the scale.
Yeah, and I guess one important thing that I think is good to mention is also it's like a team effort, right? It goes across all the different disciplines that you have, because design is involved in that, technology, all these kind of things. So I think it's important to wrap your head around this as early as possible. Okay, unfortunately this closes our slot, but I want to thank you very much, Nikita. Great insights there, and happy to have you with us, and thanks everybody that tuned in. Yeah, hope to have you back in the future.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Kay. And once again, always open for conversation on Facebook and LinkedIn. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much.